Hi guys, this is Rachel from Kawaii Cosplay. Just thought I would do a quick rundown on one of the accessories I recently made for my Rip Van Winkle cosplay from Helsing. So I'm just going to give you a quick rundown of how I built it and what materials I've used. So hopefully if you do plan on doing a cosplay it might come in handy, or if you're doing another similar prop for another character. So I'll just do a quick run through. Please forgive my camera skills as I'm using my smartphone. Okay, so as you can see, this is the entire gun itself. It's quite long, it's about 177 centimeters. I did have to do some modifications for MCM weapon rules, as they only allow weapons that are under 150 centimeters. Why they do that, I don't know, but rules are rules, I guess. And I guess if we're close to an airport, if someone did see you carrying a gun like this, I don't blame why they would freak out. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly run through some of the parts of it. The main butt of the gun, basically what I did is I used the gun, which I used as a basis, and then basically what I did is the butt of the original gun is about here. So I did a paper template of the shape I wanted it from. I used references from the volume 3 of the manga where she's in, and then I just used the template and then created another template out of cards so it'd have a bit more sturdy, and then around the top, and then basically I duct taped it on to keep it nice in place. And then what I did is I added the paint. Basically the paint I used as a base, I used a emulsion. I got this from Wilkinson's. They use cell tester pots for about £2, and they're actually really good, surprisingly. And unfortunately the paint didn't hold too well on the duct tape, so if you do, it's probably better if you do use a primer to do that first, so the paint will actually hold. But I wasn't too sure if how the paint would react to it, so I didn't want to waste all my work. So it's only going to be used for a day prop, but I'm going to take this paint with me just in case as patch-ups. For the wood detailing that I added to the gun, if you can see on my camera, again I also used another emulsion paint tester that I found in Homebase. I had to use a slightly lighter shade of dark brown so it wouldn't be too garish. I got some Warhammer paint before and it was way too bright, and it was more orange than brown, which is a bit of a shame. It's the problem with paint, because it looks fine in the paint pot, but then once it dries it turns a completely different colour. So but yeah, in order to cosplay you must experiment. Okay, onto the trigger. Again, as I mentioned, I used a musket which I bought in a fancy dress shop. Not one of my favourites, if you're wondering, and you know a certain man called Skywalker's. Yes, I bought it from him. I used the basic pattern sides on the guns. I took them off originally because they were just clipped on, and the other side was screwed on. So I kept the main body of the gun intact and used the trigger, and as you can see that's the panel I took off the side, and that's the flintlock which I bought for originally, because originally I was just going to use the flintlock for parts, but then I had to kind of redesign how to build it. Okay, onto the main body itself, which is quite long. Basically what I did is I used cereal boxes. Obviously use the same cereal box because mine went slightly skew with, because I was in a bit of a rush to build it, and I used a couple of different boxes. But it took a little while because I had to cut templates. So basically what I did was I used the box lengthways. I then cut them in half, so then I would have this still glued, so it has a bit more sturdy, and then obviously masking tape the ends, so basically it'll go boop and then boop and then boop, so you'd have bits in between so it wouldn't be too riggedy, so it'd have some structure. And then I did all that to the end. Then obviously for the main barrel of the gun, I just used wrapping paper tubes because they come in actually pretty handy. Obviously it's a bit of a pain because not a lot of paper does come with tubes now for recycling issues. So then basically I put them on the top, Obviously, to blend it in with the box better, I just cut a semicircle between each box, which took a little bit of time, and then it sort of laid it on top, and then basically duct taped the whole thing to blend together. I had to do one long row on the final layer so it wouldn't look completely blended, so it would look like the barrel was separated. And then obviously I painted. I had to do about 2 to 4 layers of paint, and then it took me well, the detailing was the longest part of this little project. It would take me literally about an hour to do a section, say, that big. But believe me, it's worth it because it does add to the detailing. I did add a cheeky little message on the side, if you can just see here. It says Tinker Tailor Soldier Sailor, which is one of her catchphrases. And then after I'd done that, I painted the barrel. Again, I had to do about 3 or 4 layers because obviously because of bleeding and tape issues, it came apart, and I had to do quite a few touch-ups. And then I got some faux leather and added the straps, and they are in the correct places. I am quite fickle with that detail. For the end of the barrel, again, I used the musket part from the original and used that. And see, I used the barrel tip because for weapon regulations they have to be coloured for safety reasons. It was a little tricky because the gun originally, there are a lot of curves on the ends. So say here it's meant to be curved upwards, but getting that to match to the trigger would be difficult. I had to modify the gun recently to cover for weapon rules because I did post a picture and they asked me the length, and they said that yeah, it wouldn't be allowed. So basically what I did was my dad helped me saw the gun roughly in half. I still kept one side intact because there was about 5 or 6 layers of duct tape it would make as a good hinge. So as you can see, I cut it in half so I could fold it and carry it around the con. And then what I did, if you can see on my camera, which is a bit dark, I got some hard plastic and then basically hot glued it inside the gun, and then created, bear me a second, and then created 2 slots. So one would go on the bottom and then one would go on the top, and then fit inside the actual part of the gun and hold it. So then at least if I did some pictures for cosplayers who wanted to take a quick sneaky peek, then I could just flip it back over with a little bit of adjustment. Get in there, you little thing. Well, anyway, you get the gist. It just clips in. Oh, I say clips in. I was going to try and do something with French paper clips, but it would have been too tricky having to keep doing them inside and then take them apart, take them off, take them apart. So overall, I'm quite happy with the gun. I'm finished with the actual outfit in general, and I recently styled the wig, which I put some pictures on my page. So overall, I'm really happy with this gun. I hope for any future Rip Van Winkle cosplayers it might be a little bit of help. And if you have any comments, then just leave them below, and I'll do more future cosplay tips on my channel if you want to request anything. Okay, bye.